Today we will have a discussion on nucleic acids and their basic structure. So you know that the two types of nucleic acids occurring in life or living cells are DNA and RNA. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid and RNA is ribonucleic acid. In what form or what is the function of these nucleic acids in a living cell? They form the genetic material. So that is why the nucleic acids are considered to be the blueprints of life, because they contain the information upon which the functioning of the cell is being programmed. And in all the organisms, starting from the basic prokaryotes up to human beings, you can see in cells that DNA and RNA, they coexist. For example, if we take a human cell, it is basically DNA, which is our genetic material, but for the proper functioning of the cell, we require RNAs also. They are also very vital in carrying out the functions of the cell. So, in all the organisms, you can see coexistence of both DNA and RNA. And starting from bacteria to man, DNA is the basic genetic material. But there are certain exceptions. So first we take the case of viruses. Viruses are infectious particles. They are nucleoprotein particles which contain a genetic material which is encapsulated in a protein coat. And this genetic material can be either DNA or RNA. Those viruses which have DNA as the genetic material are called as DNA viruses. And those which have RNA as the genetic material are called as RNA viruses. The examples of DNA viruses are certain bacteriophages, then vaccinia viruses, chickenpox viruses, adenoviruses, etc. are examples of DNA viruses, whereas the influenza virus, the poliomyelitis virus, tobacco mosaic virus, tomato ring spot virus, tomato bush stunt virus, Rio virus, retrovirus, AIDS virus, etc. are considered to be RNA viruses. In RNA viruses, there will be RNA which is present as genetic material. There will not be any DNA. And similar is the case of DNA viruses which have only DNA as genetic material. But in all the other organisms, you can see coexistence of DNA and RNA. Now we come to certain infectious agents which either lack DNA or RNA or both of them. So they are the prions, viroids and virusoids. So first we go to the prions. Prions are infectious proteinaceous particles which cause certain infections like the scrapie disease. And they contain only proteins, but they lack any kind of genetic material in the form of RNA or DNA. The second category are the viroids. Viroids are infectious RNAs which lack a protein coat. So in them, they have only RNA but not DNA. And the third category are the virusoids. Virusoids are also circular single-stranded RNAs which depend on other viruses for their replication and encapsulation. That means they are depending on other viruses for establishing an infection. So these three or these four, that means the prions, the viruses, the virusoids and the viroids, they are those entities in which you cannot find the coexistence of DNA and RNA. But in all the other organisms, you can see both DNA and RNA existing together. We come to DNA. In prokaryotic organisms, as well as certain eukaryotic cell organelles like mitochondria and chloroplasts, you can see DNA in the form of free, covalently closed, double-stranded circles. Whereas in eukaryotes, 98% of the cellular DNA is seen in the form of chromosomes as double-stranded linear polymers. So in prokaryotes, mitochondria and chloroplasts, DNA exists in circular form. Whereas in all the other eukaryotic cells, DNA exists in linear form. The second difference is that in prokaryotes, the eukaryotic mitochondria and the eukaryotic chloroplasts, the DNA is not complexed with histone proteins. Whereas in eukaryotic cells, the DNA which you see in chromosomes is complexed with proteins which are called as histones. And the histones, they will help in coiling of the DNA. And this model is called as the nucleosome model, which finally attains the structure of a chromosome. And coming to certain eukaryotes such as ferns, amoeba, proteus, certain amphibian cells, etc., you can also see naked DNA molecules which are not associated with histones. RNA on the other hand, is found in the cytoplasm of prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes, either in a free state or in association with certain proteins, but these proteins cannot be histones. And some amount of RNA is found in nucleoplasm, nucleolus, chromosomes, centrioles, mitochondria, chloroplasts, and ribosomes. So you have studied about the three forms of RNA, that is the mRNA, the tRNA, and the rRNA, found in both eukaryotes and prokaryotes. These are the three principal forms of RNA found in cells. Now we move on to the chemical structure of nucleic acids. The basic elements that make up nucleic acids are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. And these elements, they form three kinds of molecules which form the basic building blocks of nucleic acids. They are nitrogen bases, pentose sugars, and phosphoric acid in the form of phosphate group. So these are the three entities of a nucleic acid. They are the nitrogen base, pentose sugar, and phosphate group. So first we go to the pentose sugar of nucleic acids. There are two types of nucleic acids, the DNA and the RNA. So what makes them different? In RNA or ribonucleic acid, the pentose sugar is ribose, whereas in DNA it is deoxyribose. So that is the fundamental difference between DNA and RNA. It lies in the pentose sugar. Ribose is a pentose, whereas deoxyribose is a deoxypentose. Both of them exist as 5-membered rings or Furanose rings. And how they differ? Deoxyribose differs from ribose in that attached to its second carbon atom, the deoxyribose is having a hydrogen, whereas in ribose it is an OH group. So that makes them different. In the second carbon atom, the ribose possesses a hydroxyl group, but deoxyribose lacks that. In place you can see the hydrogen atom. The nitrogen base. The nitrogenous bases of nucleic acids are nitrogen containing organic compounds. They are categorized into two. They are the purines and the pyrimidines. The purines are adenine and guanine. The pyrimidines are cytosine, thymine, and uracil. In DNA as well as RNA, the purines will be the same. They are adenine and guanine. Whereas the pyrimidines differ. Cytosine is common to both DNA and RNA. Cytosine is the pyrimidine which is found in both DNA and RNA. In DNA, you can find thymine as the second pyrimidine, but it is absent in RNA where it is taken place by uracil. So we can say the DNA contains adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. RNA contains adenine, guanine, cytosine, and uracil. So thymine occurs only in DNA and uracil occurs only in RNA. Adenine, guanine, and cytosine occur in both DNA and RNA. Now we go to the purines first. Purines are dicyclic or double ringed molecules. So which are the two rings? One is a 6-membered benzene type ring and the other one is a 5-membered imidazole ring. In them, the carbon atoms in positions 4 and 5 are common for both the rings. They share. 4 and 5 is common to both the rings. The dicyclic ring has N or nitrogen atom in positions 1, 3, 7 and 9. And when it comes to nucleic acids, the N9 of the purine will link with the C1 of the sugar. That means the ribose sugar or the deoxyribose sugar through glycosidic bonding to form a purine nucleoside. So we will come to that structure when we study about a nucleoside. So it is the N9 of the purine which will link with the pentose sugar. Now we come to the two types of purines, that is adenine and guanine. Adenine is 6-amino purine which has got an amino group at position 6. Guanine is 2-amino 6-hydroxypurine with an attached amino group at position 2 and a hydroxyl group at position 6. So adenine is 6-aminopurine and guanine is 2-amino-6-hydroxypurine. Now we come to the pyrimidines. Pyrimidines are monocyclic or single-ringed molecules which consist of only a 6-membered benzene type ring. The pyrimidine ring is similar to the benzene ring except that it has N in the place of C in positions 1 and 3. So you can see in positions 1 and 3 it is N or nitrogen atom which is present. In pyrimidines, it is the N3 of the pyrimidine that links with the C1 of the deoxyribose or the ribose sugar. And the bonding is glycosidic bonding, thereby it forms a pyrimidine nucleoside. So the N3 of the pyrimidine as well as the N9 of the purine link with the first carbon of the ribose sugar or deoxyribose sugar. The three types of pyrimidines, they are cytosine, thymine and uracil. Cytosine is 2-hydroxy 6-amino-pyrimidine with an attached OH group at position 2 and an amino group at position 6. Now we come to thymine. Thymine is 2,6-dihydroxy 5-methyl-pyrimidine with OH group at positions 2 and 6, methyl group at position 5. That is why it is 2,6-dihydroxy 5-methyl-pyrimidine. Now we come to uracil. Uracil is 2,6-dihydroxypyrimidine with 2 OH groups at positions 2 and 6. One of the fundamental properties of nucleic acid bases is that they have the ability for hydrogen bonding between themselves. It is very essential for forming the ultimate structure of DNA because DNA is double-stranded. How these two strands are interconnected? It is through the hydrogen bonding between the nitrogen bases. There is a rule which the nitrogen bases follow. Adenine always pairs with either thymine or uracil. That means in DNA, adenine pairs with thymine, whereas in RNA, adenine pairs with uracil. Cytosine always pairs with guanine. In the case of DNA as well as RNA. And these thymine and uracil, they can shift between enol and keto tautomeric forms. That is one of the factors that leads to mutations. And these tautomeric forms, they are responsible for the ionic properties of bases. And tautomeric shifts can lead to changes in their ionic properties and it can lead to even mutations of genes. Now we come to the molecular organization of nucleic acids. So nucleic acids are macromolecules which are of very high molecular weight, and each nucleic acid molecule is a complex polymer or a chain, we can say, which is made up of repeating units which are called as nucleotides. So a nucleic acid strand is made up of, or a nucleic acid is like a strand which is made up of a number of repeating units which are called as nucleotides. Each nucleotide is formed by the ester linkage between a nucleoside and a phosphoric acid molecule. So we can say a nucleotide is a nucleoside phosphate because a nucleoside, when it is ester linked to a phosphate group, it becomes a nucleotide. So a nucleotide can be considered to be a nucleoside phosphate. Now what is a nucleoside? Nucleoside in turn is the product of a glycosidic bonding between a pentose sugar and a nitrogen base. The nitrogen base can be a purine or a pyrimidine. And as it was mentioned earlier, when they form glycosidic bonding, the C1 of the sugar is engaged in glycosidic bonding with the N9 of a purine and the N3 of a pyrimidine. Now we will just have a look on the different nucleosides. Nucleosides can be of two groups. The RNA nucleosides or the ribonucleosides and the DNA nucleosides or the deoxyribonucleosides. So you can categorize them into two major classes. That is the purine nucleosides and the pyrimidine nucleosides. So we first go to the purine nucleosides. The purine nucleosides include adenine nucleoside and guanine nucleoside. They can be called as adenosine and guanosine. Adenosine is a ribonucleoside because it contains the ribose sugar and adenine. Guanosine is again a ribonucleoside which contains guanine and ribose sugar. Cytosine ribonucleoside is called as cytidine because it contains cytosine plus ribose sugar. Uridine. Uridine is uracil plus ribose sugar. So I told you pyrimidine which is present in RNA is uracil. So the four types of nitrogen bases which you can see in RNA are adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil. So accordingly there will be four types of ribonucleosides, that is adenosine, guanosine, cytidine, uridine. Adenosine is adenine plus ribose sugar. Guanosine is guanine plus ribose sugar. Cytidine is cytosine plus ribose sugar. Uridine is uracil plus ribose sugar. Now we will go to the deoxyribonucleosides. Deoxyribonucleoside means deoxyribose sugar plus glycosidic bonded nitrogen base. And the four types of nitrogen bases are adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. So there can be four types of deoxyribonucleosides. So the first one is deoxyadenosine, which consists of deoxyribose and adenine. Second one is deoxyguanosine, which consists of deoxyribose and guanine. Third one is deoxycytidine, which consists of deoxyribose and cytosine. And the fourth one is deoxythymidine, which consists of deoxyribose and thymine. So these are the different types of ribonucleosides and deoxyribonucleosides. Now we will come to the nucleotides. Nucleotides are the phosphate esters of nucleosides formed by ester bonding between nucleosides and phosphate, or they are nucleoside phosphates. And there are two types of nucleotides, the ribonucleotides and the deoxyribonucleotides. They can again be classified into two, that is the purine nucleotides and the pyrimidine nucleotides. The purine nucleotides include adenine nucleotide and guanine nucleotide, which can be seen in both RNA and DNA. The pyrimidine nucleotides are cytosine nucleotide, thymine nucleotide and uracil nucleotide, of which thymine is found in DNA and uracil nucleotide is found in RNA. The adenine nucleotide of RNA is called adenylic acid or adenosine monophosphate, and that of DNA is called deoxyadenylic acid or deoxyadenosine monophosphate. The guanine nucleotide of RNA is called guanylic acid or guanosine monophosphate, and that of DNA is deoxyguanylic acid or deoxyguanosine monophosphate or DGMP we can say. The cytosine nucleotide of RNA is cytidylic acid or cytosine monophosphate, and that of DNA is deoxycytidylic acid or deoxycytidine monophosphate or DCMP. The thymine nucleotide of DNA is called deoxythymidyllic acid or deoxythymidine monophosphate. The uracil nucleotide of RNA is called uridylic acid or uridine monophosphate. The nucleotides, they exist within the cell as nucleotide phosphates as well as nucleic acids. When they form nucleic acids, they will be polymerized together. And where is this phosphate group present? The phosphate group of a nucleotide is attached to the 5' carbon of its sugar. So it is called as the alpha phosphate. In nucleotide phosphates, one or two additional phosphates may also be present, which is attached to the alpha phosphate, and they are known as beta and gamma phosphates. And these nucleotide phosphates will serve as the energy carriers to power enzymatic reactions. One of the examples is ATP. Now we move on to the internucleotide linkage and formation of polynucleotides. The nucleotide phosphates or the nucleotides, they undergo condensation polymerization through 3'-5' phosphodiester bonds, and thus they form polynucleotide chains. That means the process by which the nucleotides are linked or polymerized one after the other to form a nucleic acid chain or a DNA strand or an RNA strand. So, this reaction is a condensation or polymerization reaction. It's a condensation polymerization reaction in which the adjacent nucleotides are linked one after the other. And the bonds formed between them are called as the phosphodiester bonds. So, we can consider each nucleotide as a monomer. A free nucleotide which is seen inside a cell which has not yet taken part in polymerization is existing in a triphosphate form. So, an unincorporated free nucleotide in a cell usually exists in a triphosphate form. That means it contains a chain of 3 phosphate groups. We can say DATP or deoxyadenosine triphosphate or DCTP or DGTP. So, in that form it is existing. It always exists as a triphosphate in free form. But once it undergoes polymerization to form a DNA strand, what happens is that it loses 2 of these phosphate groups. It loses the beta and the gamma phosphate groups, but the alpha will be retained. So, only one phosphate, that is the alpha phosphate, will be incorporated into the strand of DNA. Beta and gamma will be lost during the polymerization process. So, the successive nucleotide units are covalently linked together by alpha phosphate bridges. Now, we will come to the condensation polymerization. So, this is actually a covalent bond formation, and that is formed between the 3' OH group of the last nucleotide in a chain. So, suppose you are going to one step of polymerization in which you have an already incorporated chain. You have already a chain with a 5' end and a 3' end. The 5' end is having the phosphate group and the 3' end is having the OH group. The incoming nucleotide, there will be an incoming nucleotide which is going to be the next link in that chain. The covalent bond is formed between the 3' OH group of the existing nucleotide with the 5' phosphate group of the incoming nucleotide. So, this 5' phosphate of the incoming nucleotide undergoes condensation with the OH group of the 3' carbon of the existing nucleotide. There is a condensation reaction taking place between the 3' OH and the 5' phosphate, and this is a condensation in which one molecule of water will be released, and the bond thus formed is called as a phosphodiester bond. So, when we have a close look, we can see that the sugar, may be the ribose or the deoxyribose sugar, the sugar of a nucleotide is involved in ester bonding with 2 phosphates. One, the phosphate which is already there with its 5' carbon, and this new one which is formed with the incoming nucleotide or the next nucleotide. So, the sugar molecule of a nucleotide enters into ester bonding between 2 phosphate groups, one with the next nucleotide, the incoming nucleotide, and the other with the previous one. That is why the name is called as phosphodiester bonding. So, the backbone of a polynucleotide chain or a nucleic acid molecule consists of alternating sugar and phosphate molecules. And at irregular intervals, bases are joined to this backbone which form side groups. But the bases are not involved in phosphodiester bond formation. And at neutral pH, each phosphate group has a single negative charge. So, the nucleic acids are highly charged polymers. And this is called as phosphodiester bonding, in which you can see adjacent sugar and phosphate in the backbone. So, one sugar shows ester linkage with 2 phosphates, one at its 5' carbon and the other at its 3'. So that is why it is called as diester, phosphodiester linkage.